If for some reason you wanted to make a list of the most disappointing, pathetic losses for the Chicago White Sox this season, Wednesday's 6-5 loss to the Colorado Rockies would be right at the top of your list. The White Sox managed to score just 7 runs in 2 games, and you'll never believe how many home runs they hit. Kendall Graveman rarely pitches back-to-back games, and we found out why. Plus, another potential injury to the White Sox bullpen.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan. Recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Chicago White Sox were 3 outs away from sweeping the Colorado Rockies and inching closer to the Minnesota Twins in the AL Central, but Kendall Graveman had other plans. The legend, Leury Garcia, made one of the most ridiculous base-running mistakes of the year, and the Chicago White Sox offense could not capitalize yet again. Sox are 49-49, right back to 500, still hanging around 3 games back in the AL Central. Folks, one of the most pathetic losses of the season. If you were not able to catch the game, it was a day game, and you had hopes of maybe watching it in the evening, and you saw the score, and you said, no way, and that ruined your evening. Or, you know what, maybe I do want to watch this game. Good on you. It was a sour ending. Sox played with fire on Tuesday, not piling the runs up when they could have. And the same thing happened Wednesday afternoon. They let Colorado stay close, and Kendall Graveman imploded in the 9th inning. We will get to all the specifics in this episode. Sox, of course, lost 6-5, lost in the bottom of the 9th. And it was unfortunate because we found out during the game that the Minnesota Twins lost to the Brewers, so there was some ground to be gained. The Sox could have been 2 games back in the division if they just would have been able to hold on. Coming into the game on Wednesday, White Sox were 28-21 on the road, a 3rd best record in the AL and 6th best in the majors. They were 16-7 on the road since June 4th with a 131-73 run differential. A lot of trade rumors continue to bounce around. I think we'll be talking about this for the next few episodes. Again, the trade deadline, Tuesday, August 2nd. It got me wondering, and maybe you've had this conversation perhaps with yourself, with other White Sox fans, coworkers, family. What out there, what realistically out there can the Sox acquire to be an AL elite team, to match up with the Yankees, with Houston? I just don't see it. I don't see what realistically the Sox can get back, that would put them in that conversation. We really don't have the assets. We would completely mortgage any future that we do have in terms of a farm system just to maybe get into the playoffs right now. And I know that there are a lot of folks that are saying, well, if you just get in, you never know. But that's not how this team was supposed to be built. This was a World Series or bust team. And right now I'm saying, what are you really going to give up? And what are you going to try to get just really to get into the postseason. I don't know. It's a question Rick Hahn in the front office, if I'm sure, had for a long period of time, and it changes on a day-to-day basis. We're going to talk about the injury to Joe Kelly, and that has maybe changed their direction. But when you really think realistically, what can the Sox go out and get? Because they have so many holes. It's not just one or two pieces. They have holes offensively at different positions, and of course, pitching. Realistically, what can the Sox do to get them in that Yankees-Houston conversation? I don't think much right now. Eloy Jimenez was not in the lineup, and that's another conversation to have. What to do with Eloy Jimenez? We've got so many folks where there's just a log jam. Eloy not in the lineup. It was Grandal over Eloy. That was a choice at DH per Tony La Russa. No day game after a night game catching for Grandal, and no Jimenez roaming vast spaces of Coors outfield. There are, I don't know if you have felt this, okay, but there are so many rules and regulations with this team. That's another thing. This guy needs rest for his legs, and this pitcher can't pitch back-to-back games. And, this stadium, this player can't play in the outfield because he was never supposed to be an outfielder to begin with. And, there's a righty on the mound, so I can't use Pollock. Oh, great. There's Sheets can't hit against the lefty. There's so many issues with this team, and between Sheets and Vaughn and Eloy, Grandal, and whether it's health or trying to rest guys for what purpose, I have no idea at this point. Like, you're waiting for this great stretch that the Sox are going to go on. Every game matters right now, especially in this 19-game stretch against teams that are under 500. Hopefully, eventually, we can get Eloy Jimenez into a groove, and maybe, just maybe, he could play a week straight. Some news and notes before the game. Boy, they're missing this guy. Boy, Ronaldo Lopez hasn't pitched in the last few games, and we found out he's been dealing with back soreness since his last outing, and he was unavailable on Wednesday. Vince Velasquez, currently on the IL for the last 3 weeks with a blister, said he's throwing a bullpen session Friday and getting closer to return. Jake Berger made a rehab start with Charlotte Wednesday night. Josh Harrison, congrats to him, reached the coveted 10 years service time milestone this season. AJ Pollock and Joe Kelly are closing in and should get to that milestone this season as well. Yesterday on the episode, obviously highlighted Kopech's great start, and I talked about Kopech possibly heading to the bullpen if the Sox get a starter. Ethan Katz said that there were no plans for that. Here's more from that statement from Ethan Katz regarding Michael Kopech. There's no set number of innings. We're just monitoring him. And if he's tired, we know we need to pull back. If there's an opportunity to skip a start, if needed, we'll consider that. But I don't think there's a magic number of innings. From talking to the medical staff, it's kind of seeing how he's feeling and how he's doing. Just keep things within reason. Wednesday was a tough day for our White Sox, but that right there, that news was very promising. I would say that was the silver lining to everything that went down on Wednesday. Great to hear that from Ethan Katz. Hindsight was 2020 in Wednesday's game. If only a couple things went in a different direction offensively, but that's baseball. I'm going to tell you why the Sox gave this one away. More on that in a moment. Welcome to the world of sports cards reimagined. The Sports Card Investor app is the hobby's most powerful resource. Quickly check the value of your favorite cards, find great deals, and profit from the hobby you love. Available completely free in the Google Play and Apple App stores, the Sports Card Investor app is a must-have for baseball fans. Easily browse over 630,000 cards from every sport, with hundreds more added each week. Check the latest values of your favorite cards with 7-day or 30-day charts. Find the best prices and buy directly through the app with our eBay deals feature. Plus, it's completely free. Whether you're a casual card collector or looking for exciting alternative investment opportunities, the free Sports Card Investor app has something for you. With the free Sports Card Investor app, you can pull out all those old cards of your favorite childhood players and see how much they are worth today. Download the Sports Card Investor app, available for free in the Google Play and Apple app stores, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/locked on. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. The MLB trade deadline is August 2nd, and Locked On MLB has all the breakdowns. Locked On White Sox will have rapid reactions to any move made. Make sure you have subscribed to Locked On White Sox on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get notified when each episode premieres. Let's talk some White Sox offense from Wednesday. So to set the stage, let's go back to Tuesday briefly. White Sox scored 2 runs on Tuesday night, 3 doubles, 0 home runs in Coors Field. Left a lot of runners in scoring position and just could not capitalize. I definitely thought this would change on Wednesday. It's kind of how it's been going for the White Sox. An anemic day. You know what? Maybe they'll feast on Wednesday, at least get a home run, right? Coming into the game, a guy to highlight, Yoan Moncada had a slash line of 293, 383, 488 with 11 runs scored, 5 doubles, a home run, 6 RBIs, 6 walks, and 10 strikeouts over his last 10 games. And he has been definitely playing some great defense at third. If you're not going to hit home runs and score a lot of runs, you can't make mistakes on the base paths. Boy, this was a difficult game here. First inning, Tim Anderson with a leadoff hit. Sox hit into another double play, inning over. Third, just about the same, leadoff single from Harrison and another double play. After 3 innings, White Sox offense in Coors Field, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 0 walks, and they hit into 2 double plays. 4th inning, finally things get going for the White Sox. At this point, White Sox were down by 3. We'll talk about Lucas Giolito's rough first inning. Moncada with a 1-out base hit in the 4th. Then AJ Pollock with a double. Boy, he has been hot, huh? Runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Abreu up, and he struck out. You guessed it, by swinging at a pitch in the dirt. Yasmani Grandal, he has also been hot as of late with a big 2 RBI hit. It was his 4th hit of the series, and the Sox were within a run. It was at that point 3-2 Colorado. 5th inning. This is where it got really interesting, and talk about hindsight 2020. This is the inning to think about. Leury Garcia, the legend, gets on by a drop third strike. That was the type of offense that the White Sox were having on Wednesday afternoon. Sebi Zavala bloops a single into short right field, and after a fielder's choice, Sox had runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. Yoan Moncada was up, and Leury Garcia gets picked off at third base. It was a snap throw to the catcher, to the third baseman. They got Leury Garcia out by a mile. Now, the thing that's maddening, if that wasn't maddening enough, is Yoan Moncada walked there. So it was going to be bases loaded with AJ Pollock up, who's been swinging one of the hottest sticks on the White Sox team. And Leury Garcia gets picked off at third. What is Leury Garcia doing? Did he forget the amount of outs? Did he forget how many people were on base? And what is Joe McEwing doing at third base? Is he not having constant contact and communication with the legend? That was absolutely infuriating. And it really, it kind of set the tone. That was an opportunity to pile some runs on. And as we'll find out, the Sox needed them. 6th inning, Jose Abreu takes advantage of a misplay in center field. He's on second base with 1 out. Yaz was up. He lines out to second base, and they double up Abreu. That was, again, how things were going for the White Sox. Seventh inning, this is where we thought maybe the Sox were going to separate themselves a little bit. Rockies had to go to the bullpen after their starter was hit by a line drive off the bat of the legend, Leury Garcia. They brought in a lefty, and Tim Anderson with a big 2-out base hit with runners on second and first. Sox tied it up at 3. Now you got runners at the corners with Moncada up. He walks, bases loaded. Another pitching change. AJ Pollock stays hot, flips a single into right field, 2-run score, 5-3 White Sox. Unfortunately, boy, this was unfortunate. Sox quiet in the 8th and in the 9th. Final run line for the White Sox. Offensively, of course, 5 runs, 11 hits, 2 walks, struck out 7 times, 2 extra base hits, 0 home runs, once again in Coors Field. And with runners in scoring position, the Sox were 3 for 7. AJ Pollock, 2 RBIs on the day, 3 RBIs in the series. Grandal with 2 RBIs on Wednesday. He had a good series as well. Sebi was 2 for 4. And Moncada, he was 1 for 2 with 2 walks. Well, it was an ominous start for Lucas Giolito, and I'm going to tell you why Ethan Katz had no problem getting in his 10,000 steps yesterday. More on that in a moment. So Lucas Giolito has had his problems as of late. His last start was not very good at all. 3 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and 0 walks. First inning, once again, problems early for Lucas Giolito, and it just feels like here we go again as a Sox fan. Charlie Blackmon with a leadoff home run for the Rockies. Chris Bryant with a double. Then a base hit scored Bryant. It's quickly 2-0 Rockies. Only 1 out, and Ethan Katz makes his first visit of the day. That was the theme throughout the game. And, again, here we go again. Jason Benetti talking about the need for a put-away pitch for Lucas Giolito since Rockies were doing damage with 2 strikes. Iglesias doubles, Crone scores. It's 3-0 Rockies in the first. Giolito missing spots, and the Rockies capitalizing. They obviously had a game plan going in. 32 pitches in the inning for Giolito. Second inning, Giolito gave up nothing. I mean, he looked like a completely different pitcher, which is kind of how things have gone for him more times than not. Gives it up in the first and then settles down. Fourth inning. Now, the Sox just scored to make it 3-2. And what you're hoping is that your pitcher goes out there and has a quick inning so the offense can maybe stay hot, get the bats going once again. Well, that's what I was wondering. Can Giolito get a quick inning, can get the Sox offense back out there? He gave up a leadoff walk. He was at 67 pitches at this point in the fourth inning. He walks the second guy. Another Ethan Katz trip to the mound. Rockies had men on first and second with nobody out. He was able to induce a ground ball, so there was a force out at second. Runners now at the corners. Blackmon up, and we know he hit that home run to lead off the first. Giolito got out of the jam with rolling a double play. It stayed a 3-2 game. Fifth inning, Giolito was at 103 pitches and got runners, was able to get out of that jam as well. Giolito's final line, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, a home run. His ERA sits at 5.14. He threw 104 pitches. Sixth inning, Foster came in, gives up a hit and a walk. First 2 on with nobody out for Colorado. Foster got a ground ball. Tim Anderson failed to step on second base to get the force. The Sox intentionally walked the next guy to load the bases with 1 out. Matt Foster gets a strikeout and then got Bryant to fly out, so no damage done there. Seventh inning, of course, Ronaldo Lopez with the back issues. That might have been the spot for him. But Jose Ruiz pitches. He gives up a run and leaves the inning 5-4 Sox. Eighth inning. Joe Kelly pitched in the game on Tuesday. Doesn't really happen too often where he's pitching in back-to-back games. Brings him in. TLR brought Joe Kelly into the game, 8th inning, gave up a leadoff double, struck out Blackman, and then there was a hit by pitch. Bryant was up with 2 on and nobody out. Kelly struck him out, and then there was a big meeting at the mound because it looked like Joe Kelly got hurt striking out Bryant. Yes, it looked like he did, and he was hurt. Joe Kelly left the game shaking his arm. Might be a bicep thing, might be a nerve thing. We don't know right now. Not a good sign for an already depleted bullpen. Jimmy Lambert comes in, and Colorado's Crone swings at the first pitch he sees and pops out in foul territory to Tim Anderson. Thank you, Colorado, for that. 9th inning, this is where things completely fell apart. Sox are clinging to this 5-4 lead. You've got Kendall Graveman, who, again, doesn't pitch in very many back-to-back situations. He comes into the 9th because Liam Hendriks threw 27 pitches on Tuesday, and boy, can't have him pitch on Wednesday. He was also going through some thin air stuff, dealing with Denver's high altitude. So you had Kendall Graveman as the guy. He walks the bases loaded. You've got 0 outs, of course. Colorado gets a base hit through the second base side, scores 2 runs, and walks off the White Sox. Sure, Sevi Savala should have caught the ball at home to tag the runner out. I mean, it would have been a close play. Who knows what would have happened there? But Graveman walked the bases loaded. When that happens, you deserve to lose. Absolutely pathetic. Tough loss. Sox, of course, have a off day on Thursday, and then they'll be welcoming the Oakland Athletics to the South Side for a 3-game series starting on Friday. And yes, the Oakland A's are under 500 if it matters at this point. Folks, thank you so much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Now make your second listen a Locked On MLB podcast. MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, and unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, really appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski, and until next time, go Sox.